Children dying from abuse while on the state's radar.
41 Action News investigator Jessica McMaster spent months looking into how often children are left in unsafe homes and why Kansas may not be doing as much to prevent their deaths as other states.
Sad that he's not here, and happy that he finally has a place to be at rest.
It's been 2 years since police found the remains of Judy Conway's grandson in a livestock pen.
I think that's going to be pretty.
Today, she decorates his grave.
He should not be out here.
In 2015, at 7 years old, Adrian Jones died at the hands of his dad and stepmom after a lifetime of abuse. A 41 Action News investigation first revealed Adrian's abuse was anything but a secret.
He stated over and over again he was being abused.
His 2,000-page case file from Kansas Department for Children and Families shows social workers knew Adrian was in danger for years. The horrific details sparked outrage across the globe.
There's been probably hundreds of letters written.
Countless people calling upon state leaders to investigate DCF, including national news personality Nancy Grace.
Jessica McMaster is bringing it to light. Why did they let him die?
Now, 41 Action News digs deeper and gets answers about what happened to Adrian Jones.
6 months after our initial investigation, still no answers as to why DCF didn't step in, despite its own reports that Adrian was at high risk for abuse.
Why doesn't anybody want to tell you what's going on? Because what's going on probably isn't right and just.
State Senator Laura Kelly serves on the newly formed Child Welfare Task Force, implemented to address issues within DCF. But Kelly says they don't always get accurate information from the agency.
I'm concerned about the lack of transparency.
If state lawmakers can't hold DCF accountable, who can? We turn to the rest of the country for answers. Here's what we found. 11 states, including Missouri, have a children's ombudsman office that conducts reviews each time a child in the system dies. Those results can then prompt additional training for social workers in changes in policies. In Missouri, if there's a complaint that social services isn't properly investigating a case of abuse, the ombudsman office can step in and remove the child. But in Kansas, there's no such office.
I don't understand why Kansas doesn't have something like that.
Adrian isn't the only child who's died while on DCF's radar. In 2013, 4-year-old Mekhi Boone died after a beating from his dad. A lawsuit filed by the boy's mother, who lost custody, shows the state acknowledged Mekhi's dad was dangerous, but sent him to live with him anyway.
There are children dying. We are not doing what we need to do.
In May, former Deputy Director of DCF, Diane Keach, broke her silence to the 41 Action News investigators, telling us she quit DCF because the agency was more focused on protecting its image than protecting children.
It's very hard to admit that what you've built is creating a death machine for kids.
Kansas does have a child death review board that looks at all child deaths, but it's not independent from DCF, and the reports are 2 years behind. But here's what the board's latest set of data does show. In just 4 years' time, the number of children killed as a result of child abuse has more than doubled. In 2015, the latest year data is available. There were 14 deaths. DCF had involvement in 8 of those cases.
I think an ombudsman needs to be in there.
The Child Death Review Board writes in its 2015 report, the safety of children living in homes where domestic violence occurs needs to be addressed by DCF and law enforcement when visits are made to the home, but doesn't say what, if anything, happens when those responsible for the safety of our children don't do their jobs.
It's not as high of a priority because it hasn't made it into their home.
Just 3 months ago, stories like Adrian's and Mekhi's became much more personal to Kansas gubernatorial candidate Carl Brewer.
I don't know where things have broken down.
The remains of Brewer's 3-year-old grandson, Evan, were found in a makeshift coffin at a home in Wichita. The boy's father states in court records that prior to Evan's death, DCF received multiple reports that the toddler was being abused.
We need to hold them accountable.
So what has Kansas learned from Adrian, Mekhi, and Evan, and what's being done to prevent it from happening again? No one knows. But one thing's for sure, those impacted and the supporters who rally around them aren't going away.
No one's going to stop. it's going to keep on coming.
Here's an overview of what's happened since our initial investigation. We've received Adrian's records. That was step one. Now, we also spoke with State Representative Luis Ruiz about Adrian's case. He introduced Adrian's Act, which will strengthen child abuse reporting laws if passed in January. Also, today is Secretary of DCF Phyllis Gilmore's last day. Her retirement was announced earlier this month. And now Senator Kelly says an ombudsman office to independently oversee DCF could be a possibility. I'm investigator Jessica McMaster, 41 Action News.